Hello everyone and welcome to ASU's TV show Culture Bigbang. I'm your host Stacey Spivey. We've been learning about cultures all around the world and today we're going to learn about Nigerian culture. Our TV department chair is Osa Aminye, Dr. Osa Aminye, and he is from Nigeria and here is his interview.
Welcome, Dr. A, to involve our show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and what did you have for lunch?
Well, I had a typical American, not actually American, it was a combination of Mexican and American food. I had salad and a taco.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's good. So did you eat that food in Nigeria?
No,
before?
the food in Nigeria is quite different from the food here. But I do, eat Nigerian food at home. I have to go to Memphis to get all of the ingredients because none is available in Jonesboro.
So
Yeah.
you ate Nigeria food and
Right.
Also American food. So
Yes,
which one
I ate a
you-
combination of Nigerian and American food. Yeah.
So which one is your favorite?
Naturally, if I had the choice, I would prefer Nigerian food because it is balanced differently than American food. American foods tend to be oriented around the meat. For instance, you have steak and then something else. Whereas with Nigerian food, meat is a condiment. It is not the central piece of the food. It's something that's added. So we will eat something like pounded yam, which is you use a soup. And it just happens to have meat or fish or some other thing. Yeah.
So Nigeria is more complicated to cook or to make it.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. I think some of the foods are harder to prepare.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't cook American food, because the seasonings are different. So,
Yes.
but I would think it involves a little more, and there's a wide variety of foods. In my part of Nigeria. And let's also understand that Nigeria is a pretty big country. So that most Americans always have this impression that Africa it's a country, that it is not a continent. As you can see from this map, there are 53 independent countries in Africa. And most people don't even think that Egypt is in Africa. Okay?
Yeah.
As well as Libya and Algeria and Sudan, Chad.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of different countries, and each of these different countries have their own different dynamics and makeup. Nigeria has approximately 250 ethnic groups in here. The northern part is very different from the southern part. And the northern part is mostly leaning towards the desert, so it's almost like Sahara, and the southern part is tropical. There are about 250 ethnic nationalities, and each one have their own types of food. And some foods are common, like rice is common. Though some people say rice was a foreign product that was introduced to Nigeria, but it's been in Nigeria so long. We've always thought that we've always grown rice. In fact, I had relatives who grew rice. So yeah.
So you said in Nigeria they have a large population. Now, what kind of language do they use there?
There are, depending on who you read, there are at a minimum 250 languages.
Wow.
If you include dialects, which are
Yes.
linguistic, variations of a language, if you include that, there may be as many as 400 distinct, languages.
That's a lot of language. So
Yes. So English then is what is considered the lingua franca. That is the language that is spoken across all the ethnic groups.
all the nation.
Right. However, there is, what one might call a Nigerianized version of English called Pidgin English, and that is what people who are uneducated will speak.
Yes. So, since they have lots of, when you back to the Nigeria, what kind of place you want to recommend to the foreigners to visit,
Oh,
to
Nigeria
travel?
has- Nigeria
I
has
know
a-
that's a beautiful place.
Well, yeah,
beautiful
Nigeria
country.
has a wide area of landscape, from gorgeous beaches in Lagos,
Oh.
to mountainous areas in the central part, Abuja now, and then you've got Jos, Sherry Hills and Jos. I mean, there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful places to visit.
Oh, I really love to go.
Yeah, right.
Yes. About the festival part, like what's the most important festival in your country? Because here we know the most important part, of course, is the Christmas, Thanksgiving. Yeah. Like
no, there are a lot of traditional festivals that go on in different parts of the country.
Yes.
Remember, I said there are approximately 250 ethnic groups. Each one has, and some of the festivals, occur in water. On the water. Yeah, like the Agungu Festival, for instance, occurs in the water. And then you have some of them, like the masquerades and things like that. A lot of those festivals, at least in the part of Nigeria that I was born, a lot of the festivals happen around Christmas. But it's usually around Christmas. But there are, again, Christmas time is a little different from the English calendar in the sense that there is a period that's set aside for Christmas, and it usually starts from the leader, of the country, the Oba, we call him the king, who decides the various dates, and there are a variety of dances and masquerades and things that occur within that period. Yeah.
So what's the festival called, like similar with the Christmas here in Nigeria?
It's also called Christmas.
Oh, it's also.
We call it Christmas, but it has a but it's different. It's a little different. Christmas in Nigeria, takes an entire week.
Oh.
Whereas here, you have Christmas Day and you have Boxing Day. Whereas the Christmas in Nigeria is a period. It is not a day. It starts from the 24th and goes all the way to the 1st.
Wow.
Within that entire period is Christmas. We visit family, we share gifts, we particularly food, and we do a lot of different things. At least where I was born.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. Yes. And we know as an educator here, you're a professor and the chair of Department RTV. So do you see any difference between the education system here and Nigeria?
Yes, there are. There are some differences. Initially, Nigeria adopted the British system of education, where you had, you go through primary school from 1, to 12, and then you go to the secondary school. Nigeria now has an Americanized version of an educational system, but it's still a hybrid system that combines elements of the British system as well as that of the American system. So now you have a primary school, an elementary school, then you have a junior secondary school, and then you have a senior secondary school, and then you go from there to university, if you wish, or to polytechnic. Right.
Do you see any difference between the students here and there?
Yes, there are a lot of differences between students here and there. Students in America have a lot of resources that they take for granted. Most people who live outside of the U.S., particularly in Africa, may not necessarily have those resources, but they're very, very serious in terms of their search for education. So the attitude is different. But resources are also different. Some people will tell you, for instance, that the Nigerian educational system tends to be more theoretical, whereas, judging, for instance, by the Department of Radio TV, we also embrace a great deal of hands-on. So we have the resources here to be able to give you hands-on education in addition to your conceptual, education. So yeah, there are lots of differences.
The State Parks of Arkansas. 52 parks. 4 beautiful seasons to experience them. Sponsored by this station, the Arkansas Broadcasters Association, and your Arkansas state parks, making beautiful memories.
The blue planet. Almost 75% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Water, the source of all life on Earth. And a whole lot of fun in your Arkansas state parks. So what are you waiting for? Boat, float, swim, ski, fish. Visit lakeandriverstateparks.com to plan your fun. Sponsored by this station, the Arkansas Broadcasters Association, and your Arkansas state parks, making fun memories.
Welcome back to ASU's TV show, Culture Big Bang. I have here with me my friend. His name is Ariri, and he's from Nigeria. He's one of the radio TV students here at ASU. Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
It's my pleasure.
So just kind of introduce yourself. Tell me about yourself.
My name is Ariri Osayamari. I'm from Benin City, Nigeria, in West Africa. And been in ASU now for 2 years. I'm getting a master's degree in radio and television, and it's been an amazing experience so far.
Okay, so what made you decide to come over here?
I had a friend I went to undergrad with, and she was here already, and kind of asked her a few questions, and she said it was cool. And I said, okay, let me come down and see what's going on, and it's been pretty good so far.
Was your friend here at ASU?
Yes, Ngozi. You remember Ngozi,
yes,
right?
I
Yeah,
do.
she was here.
Okay, so what were you studying in Nigeria?
I had my undergrad in theater arts, performing arts in the University of Benin. That was in 2006.
Oh, wow.
And after then, I went into advertising for a little bit before I decided to come get a master's degree. And coming down to ASU, and it's been a lot of production for me so far. I've been doing a lot of production, being behind the camera, shooting football games, and producing my own content and all that. So now that I'm graduating, I'm looking forward to be able to use every aspect of the trainings I've gotten so far to good use.
So what made you decide radio TV? Is there something that you want to do specifically when you graduate with it?
Yeah, I actually look forward to an opportunity in the aspect of media, whether it is administration or it is in lecturing and all that. But my focus has been in trying to understand the media so I can be able to use it, whether it's film, whether it's documentary production, or whether it's television programming, anything in that line. That's why I decided to do radio TV. And radio TV in ASU, it's actually amazing. And every student that comes through this department can attest to the fact that there's just so much you can learn from here. There's
Exactly.
more than enough you can do if you want to do it, if you have the zeal and the desire to do it.
ASU has a great radio TV
Yes.
program. Okay, so, being in Nigeria and you decide to come over here to study, what did you think about the United States before? What was your perspective?
Freedom, freedom, freedom. I grew up on Hollywood movies, and CNN came out too, and we was hooked on CNN for many years. And you just really look at the scenery, you look at the pictures on TV, and it's just always beautiful. The culture too, the music, and basically you see the advertising and you see the products that come from the US and all that. It's just always something you want to see at one point in your life. So for me, it was like, okay, at some point I have to see New York, and I have to see Chicago, and then I have to see LA and all that. So yeah, so my opinion of the U.S. before I came here was actually amazing. Yeah, I had very good expectations before I came to the U.S.
So coming over here, I mean, Jonesboro, Arkansas, that's nothing like LA or New York or Chicago. Did it change your perspective of the states?
Not really.
Really?
It did and it didn't. I came into the U.S. through New York. My first point of arrival was New York, and going out there and seeing the city, and it was like, oh, okay, this is for real. Okay, yeah. And I went in the subway, and okay, the subway, okay, it's not so bad.
No.
It should have looked cleaner than this, but hey, you know. So from there, we flew all the way to down here to Memphis, and took a long ride in one of those amazing ASU buses, and got down to the campus here, and it was like life stopped.
There's
It was
nothing
like,
out here.
It was like, okay, what's going on? This looks pretty much like Benin City where I'm from. Like, what's going on? Like, I was chilling.
Really?
But the excitement was still there for me to see the university. But the moment I came into the campus and I saw the campus, I liked it. I thought it was cool. But as far as the people and as far as what I expected, it was kind of a rude shock to me because,
Really?
I kind of felt I would just flow into the system and just begin to understand what goes on. I thought I'll pretty much use everything I have known before to operate with the people I was going to meet. But I started to encounter people every day. I started to realize that I have to understand people differently, that the culture was different, that things it was a lot different than I thought. I thought maybe the black person I would see in the U.S. would speak the same language as me.
That's not
But you
true.
know, it was like a rude shock. It was like black people working with a different software installed in them. It was amazing. The food, I was wondering what was I going to eat, man. I couldn't find the same things. The things I considered as snacks was now things that were like food, you know, McDonald's and all that stuff. I was like, okay. So, but after taking time and spending some time here to understand that it's just a different culture. It's not like the people
Right.
are completely different. I can now say that, okay, it doesn't really change. It's still the same awesome expectation I had experiencing right now.
So you said a big difference was the food. Would you say that's the most interesting aspect of Nigeria or something else?
There are many things that are interesting about Nigeria. You can't really pinpoint one. I mean, if you go into Lagos, the industrial city in Nigeria, the hustle, the atmosphere, the drive of the people, the determination of the people is just amazing. And you can want to say that's part of the culture, because Nigeria, you can argue that Nigeria is like 3 or 4 countries in one. If you know the history of Nigeria, if you research it. So these unique people brought together to live as one country gives them a sense of drive that is just amazing. So that is part of the culture. The average Nigerian person is determined to succeed. The average Nigerian person is a dreamer. Everybody believes there's something that is good out there for them. So I would say that's the most interesting part of the Nigerian culture, that resilient spirit, not to give up, to want to work and succeed and win. Me taking this long journey all the way from Nigeria to come here to try to get an education so I can be relevant tomorrow. That's the spirit of the Nigerian person, and that's the most interesting part of the culture. I won't say that there is the food, there is the dance, there is the language, there is the marriage rights and all that stuff, all those good stuff, all that, all that from different people coming together is just unique. Yeah.
Okay, well, if I were to go to Nigeria, what's the first thing that you would want me to experience there?
The first thing I would want you to experience if you get in Nigeria is the people.
The people?
Why
is that?
Because they will come at you. I mean, they would welcome you. They would you would see them and you would understand them. They will let you know who they are and what they're about. I mean, you will see the kids, you will see the smile in their faces. You will see some too, you see the pain in their faces. You will see the older people. You will hear the wise things they have to say. You will see their perspective on life. You will see the everyday person, and you will see that same spirit I tell you about, But after you have done that, you want to try and go out later in the day and try out the food, and you want to see the sights that you have to see. You want to also learn about our costumes. of dressing and some of our traditions and see the difference between Nigeria and the U.S. And you also want to listen to the music and try some of the Nigerian dances.
I think we're actually going to get to see some of the clothing later, I'm super excited about seeing. But, you know, you're talking about all this bright things, I mean, the culture and, like, the food and everything, but what do you say that I think that there might be some misunderstandings about your country. Can you kind of explain that?
Misunderstandings about what?
Maybe that Americans have about Nigeria.
Well, I don't know. There's none I know of.
Not
particularly,
that you know.
I mean...
Well, maybe what are some questions that
people
Americans have been asking you about it when they first met you?
Okay, just 3 days ago, I was at the Hot Springs here in Arkansas, and I met the burlesque troupe. And one of the dancers in the troupe actually asked me, okay, is it rough? Is it rough in Nigeria or something? Is it rough? And I was like, yeah, it is rough. And he asked me, is it dangerous? And I said, well, it's a different kind of danger from the danger in the U.S. For example, we don't have guns. People don't carry guns to protect themselves and stuff. Yeah. So if you compare what is dangerous in Nigeria and the U.S., it's kind of different, but there's danger anywhere. That's what we concluded and say.
Exactly.
But as far as misunderstandings, Nigeria is actually a country in West Africa, and Africa is a continent.
Yes.
So I get that stuff mixed up even from older Americans. Some of them tend to ask me, is Africa a country?
They ask you if Africa is a country.
Africa is a country, and I'm like, really? So that's like a misconception, and Nigeria is also not a Muslim state per se. There's a mixture of Muslim and Christians and every other kind of religion. So that's another misconception that people have. And what else? We do speak English as a primary language, but the other languages and other, because Nigeria was a former colony of the British, got the independence in 1960. And so English has been the major language. So misconceptions, I think everybody needs to do a research and just basically educate yourself about other parts of the world, because I think I know a lot about the U.S. right now. So.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show to tell us more about Nigerian culture. It was so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, and we will be right back after the break.
The State Parks of Arkansas. 52 parks. 4 beautiful seasons to experience them. Sponsored by this station, the Arkansas Broadcasters Association, and your Arkansas State Parks, making beautiful memories.
The blue planet. Almost 75% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Water, the source of all life on Earth. And a whole lot of fun in your Arkansas State Parks. So, what are you waiting for? Boat, float, swim, ski, fish. Visit lakeandriverstateparks.com to plan your fun. Sponsored by this station, the Arkansas Broadcasters Association, and your Arkansas State Parks, making fun memories.
Welcome back to Culture Big Bang. I'm your host, Stacey Spivey, and I have with me here another RTV student who is from Nigeria. Her name is Tolu. Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, first off, I've just got to ask you about what you have on.
All right, this is my African print. It's called Ankara, A-N-K-A-R-A.
Ankara.
Ankara.
Okay.
Yes, you got it. And it has a lot of history behind it. The old people in Nigeria try to like make we young children proud of it. Where we make it into any kind of style you want. We have different patterns, we have different prints, we have different textures. And this is just one of the thousands I have, I guess.
I love it. It's so bright.
Thank you so much.
So, I mean, obviously, probably the older people in your country wouldn't wear this, but what would you describe their outfits as?
They like to be more traditional, like that kind of like, they try to preserve the culture more than, because we young generations, we just like to put on jeans and shirt and shorts and skirts.
Yes.
But now we have this thing in my tribe they call Owambe. Like, it's like every Saturday there's always a wedding in Nigeria. Like
Really?
thousands of weddings in Nigeria. So they put on this traditional attire, but the older people wear Iran Buba. Is a big top and just to wrap the skirt around you and put on a headgear. So like once you get to the Owambe, like you see all your friends wearing the same thing. Like they just feel like they feel young again, like when they put on this kind of attire. So
I just love it. I love all the colors.
you. Thank
You're
you so
welcome. Okay, so tell me, what made you come over here to ASU?
okay. Sincerely,
Yes.
the price.
Really?
The tuition is so reasonable and
Wow.
excuse me. And I was searching for a university who was gonna give me a degree in radio TV. I didn't want mass communication because I had my first degree in mass communication. And most of the schools I applied to, they had just mass communication or communication or journalism. But when I saw Arkansas State University, I never knew Arkansas was on the map. But when I found out like they had a Arkansas State University, I was pleased with the tuition and I was pleased that they had the exact course I wanted to study.
So what made you decide radio TV?
Growing up, I've always loved opera.
Really?
Yes, I've always loved opera. Like even back home, like we watch our shows on Saturday morning breakfast show. Like they, tap it from here and they just show it. So I was like, no, I want to be in front of the TV, and I do part-time modeling back home. So being in front of the camera is something I've always wanted to do. So
Always
I was like,
loved.
if I cannot take care of the camera, I'd rather be in front of it.
That's how I feel too. That's so cool. I love it. Okay, before you came over here, is there any perspectives that you had about the U.S. or anything, misunderstandings maybe?
I had perceptions before I came because I was like, oh, America is the land of opportunity, God's own nation. Once you get here, you get a great job. Once you get here, you make thousands of friends. Oh, you see celebrities walking down the road. Nah, that's a lie. It's far from me. I see people here kind of driven just the way we are back home. But I think Africans are a bit more driven because we don't have all this on a platter of gold. Like you have to work 10 times harder to get all of this, all the things we have in class. We don't have half of that like back home. So I think the drive is impressive. The drive.
What was the hardest part about moving here? I mean, you've been here for a semester, so what is, the hardest part out of everything?
Well, I have 3 nieces. They're so young, and like I cry almost every night when they're on the phone with me, like, because they keep saying, Auntie Tola, when are you coming back home? And I'm like, they have no idea how I'm going to be here like 2 years, and I cannot go back home to see them because I had 16 hours flight to get here, and I'm like, no way.
Awful.
I will not go back 16 hours except I'm going like to leave for like 6 months or a year. So I miss my food, Nigerian food. Please, you have to try.
Okay, tell me about the food then. What's the food like?
Okay, the food back home, we don't have half of the things you have.
Just pull it up, it's fine. Okay, about the food.
Okay. We don't have half of the things you have here. We have more. More than what you have here. Like I think Americans deal more with processed food, but back home we like raw food. We plant every day, we harvest every day. So we have we could be so hungry right now, and you don't have to go to a store or to a restaurant. Just by the roadside, you'll probably see someone making yam, potatoes, and beans, and whatever
Really?
you want to eat. Like, so the food back home is beautiful. That's one thing I really miss about home.
What's your favorite thing at home to eat?
We call it ewagoin. I don't know if you'll be able to pronounce that, but it's beans. You have the beans here, but you don't have the pepper because we use African black pepper. And I don't know, it's too sweet. You just have to try it. It's spicy, but it's beautiful. I've been having it since I was a baby, I guess. So
Really?
I'm used to
Okay.
it.
Well, what's your favorite food here? Is there anything that you do like here? Or is
Aside the fact that it's easy to get chicken, like, because back home, like, nah, it's quite, you have to go, like, to the market.
Really?
Watch them kill the chicken and all that stuff. But here you just go to the store and, like, Walmart, you go Target, and you see,
just
like,
get
frozen,
chicken.
like, 12 thighs. I'm like, whew, great.
So you can't just go find chicken there.
No, you have to go to the market and somebody has to kill the chicken for you. So you have to wait like 2 hours and, you know, killing the chicken, peeling, like cutting into pieces. And it's quite a long process. But here, chicken, yeah, my best.
Okay, so besides the chicken, what do you think about the people when you got here?
What did I think about people when I got here?
I know Riri said that, you know, he thought the African American students here would, you know, be just like him, but they're not. Like, what's the difference?
I was so surprised when I got here. I was like, am I the only black person, like black skinned person here? Then I kind of started seeing like a few like dark skinned people. I was like, are you from Nigeria? No, I'm from Gambia. Are you from Nigeria? No, I'm from Cameroon. I'm like, seriously? Nobody speaks my language. I was so kind of like upset. But I found out like the white people here are very open. I was not expecting. I came with a baggage that when I'm here, just you and don't talk to anybody. But like you just walking by and they smile at you and say, "How you doing? I like your hair. I like your dress." You know, like compliments like that. I was pleased.
That's good. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it so far.
Thank you.
What do you think has been the best part about being here?
This department is the best thing that's happened to ASU, in my opinion. You have the state-of-the-art studio. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We have like the best professors, the best teachers. Like your colleagues are just like willing to help you, work with you. I don't even have a car. Like I don't know how to drive.
Really?
Shame. Yes. I don't know how to drive, but wanting to go anywhere here, just call one of your colleagues and they'll say, "Oh, sure, I'll take you." Like that is beautiful. I never expected people to be that open
so,
to strangers.
yeah.
Like, you know, I'm
Welcoming.
from Africa, and I've had like different stereotypes about Africa. Like somebody asked me when I first got here, "Do they wear clothes back home?" I'm like, "No, we live in the caves." Of course we wear clothes back home. How are we not going to wear clothes back home? It was crazy. And the time TJ Holmes came, it was like, "Do you know who he is? Do you watch CNN?" I'm like, "No, I've never heard about CNN." I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like, wait, this is not
People just don't understand.
1820. This is like 2013. Like, I know who he is. I want to take a picture with him and all that. Like, so the stereotype people had about me, except you explain, people don't really get to know you. But it's been peaceful so far.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I'm glad that I got to really talk to you and get to know you better.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you all for joining us today. I hope you learned more about Nigerian culture. If you have any comments or suggestions or any ideas, just email us. Our email is here below. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Have a great day.